Welcome to the Hall of Fame. We're here with Trucker Path and Chris, and we're going to talk a little bit about his company, talk a little about the navigation system they offer, plus many more. So let me give it to Chris for his quick intro.
Hey, thanks a lot. I'm real happy to be here today. Trucker Path's a really, really popular app. It's in the driver community. I've got 1 million strong on our user base. So almost 1 in 3 drivers are a regular user of Trucker Path. And we're real happy to bring them with comfort of life on the road, efficiency tools, and then also safety tools.
So when you say Trucker Path is like Waze for drivers?
Yeah, it's very similar. It's how I often explain it. It's like if you took Yelp and Waze and they got together and had a baby for truckers, that would be Trucker Path.
Okay, so do you charge for it at all, or is it all totally free?
A huge chunk of what we offer is freemium. So many of the features we offer, like parking availability, ratings and reviews, truck stop pricing, even special discounts on fuel, all come with just a freemium version. And then the one subscription we have is when you really want to kick the navigation up to the full truck Waze-like experience, then we do have a small fee for that.
Okay, so give me so if I'm using it now, I'm like, you know what? I definitely want to kick it up. So tell me, I'm on the phone with one of your, obviously I'm probably not talking to you, one of your reps and says, hey, what is that pricing? And tell me what I get above what I'm getting now on my freebie.
Gotcha. So the pricing really ranges pretty significantly because not only do we offer it for drivers specifically just through the app, we also offer like what you'd call a white labeled version for fleets. So it kind of runs the gamut, but generally speaking, for a driver who's just an owner operator looking to not hit bridges, basically, that pricing ranges around $14 a month, and that includes everything that comes with Trucker Path. Then of course you get into fleets with hundreds or thousands of vehicles, and that price goes down accordingly. But that's about the average for the driver level.
So is my trying to think, are you guys integrated in any way with any dispatch system? So, for instance, let's say I am a 500 truck company and I get a dispatch. I don't know which ones they're using today, but let's say Qualcomm. I don't know. There's so many out there now, and I get a dispatch that's taking me from Omaha, Nebraska to Elgin, Illinois. Do I have to then enter that in Trucker Path, or is there any way for that to EDI or some version of transfer?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's all over the place. I mean, it could be as easy as a text message where you copy the address and paste it in, but of course we get a lot more sophisticated than that too. We've fully integrated with Samsara, for example. Okay. So within their app, you can touch Navigate Me, and that natively just brings up the Trucker Path app. So it's a very good integration, similar to McLeod. Also, similar integration with them as well. And about half dozen more that are under development now with our technical team. So try to make it as easy as possible for the fleet to simply just push a button and the job goes straight to the driver and it shows up on their app to accept it and get navigated the whole way.
Okay. I got to believe, one of the biggest things under my last jobs when I worked for a corporation was in Chicago. One of the biggest things you hit are just those bridges because they're not labeled. The signs are gone. I don't know whether people tore them down and that. So you route around all those things.
Yeah,
there you go.
You bet.
Make sure you get that.
That's really kind of the tip of our spear is bridge strikes lately.
It's huge in Chicago because I don't know whether people are stealing the signs, but they're not labeled, and there's some that are labeled incorrectly, and I'm saying to myself, did they repave the road and it got higher and they didn't measure the bridge? I'm trying to think, where are we going wrong here? But I see that quite a bit.
The places where we see the most discrepancies in, call it the published height versus the reality of things are the old cities. Yeah. Be it back in New York or Philly or Chicago. The ones that have been around for a while, I don't know if the measuring stick changed from 1920 to today, but those are the places where we see the most incorrect numbers, I guess you would say. The cool thing, though, is that we inject that Waze type element into our navigation. That's really the differentiator. I'm sure you're aware most truck navigation systems have an underlying data set that's pretty much the same. I mean, it's pretty much the common, the federal and state information all aggregated to be available. But our thing is we leverage our 1 million users and give them the opportunity to tell us when we're wrong. So what happens is we have this navigation database, call it, that's constantly being improved upon by a million drivers telling us when we're wrong. And I'm sure drivers aren't shy about telling us when we're wrong.
They're not shy at all. Actually, that's great. That's one of the things why I brought up Waze is it's one of those things that with Waze, you're going down the road and it tells you, hey, there's a cop on the side and traffic is slow, and it asks you, is the cop still there? You're like, no. And those things help because now you're getting live, real-time reaction to things, road closures and the things of that nature. So let's just say, and I don't need the exact number, you have 1 million subscribers. How many are actively subscribing, like pushing info your way?
Well, it's a
percentage.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to think. The best number I can share with you is data inputs a month. That's basically how many times do people answer a question. It's about 25 million times a month. A driver tells us you're good, you're not so good, or something's really wrong. So like that, I often refer to our user base as the community. Yeah, I'm the CMO, so I'm supposed to use cool words like that. But in this case, it really is, because really the power of our app is the fact that drivers answer the questions that we ask of them to help everybody else out. Yeah. And a lot of times I do interviews like this, I kind of joke and say Trucker Pass should have been called Hooking a Brother Up. Because that's what we do, is we facilitate that conversation. Our parking is probably the most frequently referenced data point, and what we've done is we've identified about 20,000 locations where trucks can park safely and legally throughout the U.S. And they're all geo-fenced. So imagine, just a digital fence around that property. Whenever a driver breaks that fence, we ask him a simple question. Look around. Is this lot full? Are there some spaces available? Or are there a lot of spaces available? Which is pretty vanilla unless you have 1 million drivers telling you that all the time. So what happens is a new user will say, oh yeah, I heard somebody say Trucker Path is a great way to find parking. They open up the app. They'll see a truck stop, for example, and it says there 2 minutes ago, a driver said there are a lot of spaces available. Mm-hmm. And they show up and there's really a lot of spaces available. Mm-hmm. And that's like setting the hook. They're like, I'm in because this really works. Yeah. So it just self-perpetuates. So we get that feedback all the time and they're helping each other out. It's pretty cool.
No, that's a big thing. I think most of my trucking community knows this. Trucking parking is something that is hard to find. It is hard to find. And people always say, oh, take your break, make sure you don't drive illegally. Yeah. Till it's time to find somewhere to legally park, okay? And I think it's, if you can guide people, the thing I love the most in that is that people are telling you how full it is, because as the guy goes down the road, well, the guy just told me that one is pretty full, but there's another one 10 miles down was wide open. I'm not going to take a chance. I'm going to go to one 10 miles down the road. I think that's worth its weight in gold. Now, do they get that on the freebie, or is that a paid?
Yeah, that's the freebie. Part of the paid subscription is to see historical and then the future predictives. So if you're going to be there next Thursday, for example, we aggregate that historical data, say there's a pretty darn good chance there's going to be spaces available here or here, but not there.
Great. Great for trip planning. I'm leaving Vegas. I'm going to Chicago. I know that I'm going to arrive the night before my delivery and I need to take a break. From the paid prescription, I can go out and says, okay, I will be there Thursday at 1 o'clock. Historically, it's always empty Thursday at 1 o'clock.
Exactly. That's exactly. And then I think it was probably 4 or 5 months ago now, we partnered with Truck Parking Club. Okay. And they've grown up to about 800 locations now where you can actually reserve parking. And we've overlaid their service on top of our parking. So not only can you see what should be available or what is available, but you can also push a button with the app and reserve a spot if you'd like to. So that really can lock it down for you.
I love it. So you say you're about 1 million users. How many users do you think you have total?
We have a monthly active user number of it's like 997,000.
Oh, wow.
On the Trucker Path side. And on our load board side, we've got about 150,000 more. So it's well over 1 million drivers are regular users, not downloads, regular users of the Trucker Path app.
All right, let's move to your load board. I think we got the idea. I love the Trucker Path. I think the parking is big. I think just the drivers telling you what's wrong is big, because I think the biggest thing you make, unlike any other industry, drivers have no problem telling you where you stand. They will no problem letting you know, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no parking here. They will let you know if the information
They may tell you directly, or they may just hop on a social media platform
and put it on blast.
For us, it's a double whammy because we provide the forum where they can complain about us too. So not only is it a direct complaint, but they can tell all their buddies about it simultaneously. So we pay very, very close attention to that.
That is good. All right. Well, load boards. There's several load boards out there. Tell me about your load board. What's different?
We're about the fourth largest. And it's deeply integrated with Trucker Path. So, obviously within Trucker Path, we know where you are when you've reported and you've been parking. When you reach over to Truckloads, which is the name of our load board, it knows where you are, and you can also have your preferences in to say what lanes you like best. What are your parameters for requirements on mile or rate per mile, et cetera. So it's kind of a boutique type load board where it integrates directly with what you're using for your routing and navigation to begin with. And then from there, we just connect the drivers with the brokers that have posted those loads. We do have some brokers we've integrated with where it's a full digital experience and you can actually book the freight right through the board. Then the predominance, though, is still kind of the old-fashioned way that I think most drivers still prefer is there's a phone number, an email address where you can reach up and talk to somebody to get the job.
Yeah, I think we're getting there. I think this is just an industry that we have a hard time getting rid of a paper bill of lading. I mean, I can tell you struggles where we tried to use an iPad for people to sign, and the guy said, well, I need to print a paper. I said, no, I will fax it from here to your fax machine. It'll pop up as soon as we're done signing. No, I need you to give me a piece of paper. I mean, it's an ugly transition, and you think about people try to automate it like brokers take Convoy with the Cubans and the people behind them. That didn't work. I think Uber Freight's having its challenges. I think it's the right thing to do. I think it's going to take time, and I think it comes from, in my point of view, and I'm going to ask you in a second, is we have an age in force in trucking, whether it's the average age of a driver, I think it's 49. I remember in 2019, it was 46. So, and even with the people that worked at these shippers, it's an aging community, and I don't think they haven't really adopted the technology like they should, but there's no reason for me to call you and give you my loan information and fax it to you, or if you would let me enter it into your portal.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I've been doing transportation technology for almost 30 years now. And it's, I think in every case, it makes sense from the technology perspective. But I do think a large proportion of the time, someone from outside of our industry sees something that's less than perfectly efficient, says, oh, I could fix that, and I'm going to revolutionize trucking. But they forgot to ask the people that use the software. You could have the most amazing tool ever, but if nobody wants to use that tool, it's not going to be that successful. So that's really kind of how it has made Trucker Path successful. Is it started off with just a map of truck stops. And at some point along the maturation process, which was well before me, somebody said, that's cool, but it sure would be nice if we had fuel prices on there. So the developers found Opus and started putting fuel prices on. And then somebody along the line said, it'd be cool if we knew how many trucks could park there. And it just evolves. So we've kind of been reactive, which isn't really where you want to be from a technology leadership perspective. But in this industry, you've got to listen to the users. And like you said, most of them are middle to even beyond middle-aged guys who've been doing it the way they've been doing it for decades. And they're not looking to change because it's been working pretty well so far.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You mentioned an interesting point I want to circle back to. Since you can see prices and recommend people there, are you able to offer your drivers a discount at any fuel points?
That's a great question. It's teed it up for me to hit it. As a matter of fact, about a year ago, we started building the Trucker Path Fuel Network. Okay. So within our app, we're up to a little bit over 1,100 locations now that we've negotiated discounts for our users. Drivers are able to go to those locations and make the purchase for the fuel right there on the phone. So you don't have to go in and swipe a card at the pump. You tell me how much you're going to need. When you get there, you tell me you're there. We give them a number that they punch into the pump, and they get to the discount that we've negotiated for the community as a whole.
I love it, and I give you if you're an independent trucker, independent contract sitting out there running yourself, you said, okay, I'm gonna pay X amount for my subscription. then take how much you save in fuel over that same month and see are you really paying for that subscription at all. Because fuel savings is a huge deal. People that can go out, I remember I worked for a large truck company and negotiate fuel prices, it's a big number. I mean, when you talk about your number one cost, it's the driver pay and fuel. And if you're your own driver, it's fuel.
Yep.
And if you can lower that, I don't care what that percentage is or what that thing is, if you can lower that for them, the amount of fuel, talk about 6 miles a gallon. Okay. Exactly. So when you're buying the gallons you do, that's savings. And I mean, it'd be great, I think, for you, if you would share it. I would share that number with them that says, hey, you paid, I don't know what it is, you used to be paying $100 this month, but you saved $120 in fuel if you paid it yourself.
Exactly. That's precisely what we do. One of the cool parts is we don't charge for that program. That's part of the freemium experience. So if you're a Trucker Path user and you want to save some money on fuel, all you need to do is upload your payment tool to your wallet within Trucker Path, and that's it. We don't charge anything for that today. So everybody can recognize it. We just started, like I said, about a year ago. I would call it a relatively new initiative within our business, which I call bringing big fleet deals to the little guys. And that's what exactly the conversations that I've been having, almost daily for the last year is, think of aggregating those half of the million users, half of them are owner operators. Yeah. So on behalf of them, we try to get the best deals we can to pass it on. And as they use it more, our volumes and usage goes up, which gets them a better discount. So again, activating that community, if the more they use, the more they're going to benefit from it.
You just, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think anything you buy, whether you go out and buy health insurance, the amount of employees you have drive the price. The reason the large truck company has always paid below what's at the pump is because they have negotiating power. But you're sitting at $500,000. It's only a matter of time as you aggregate that and then you go back to them and you add more pumps that you're going to save your drivers a ton of money on something that is such a critical cost to them operating their business. Yeah. So
it's a big pain, and it's a pain they feel every day. That's why we started with fuel as the first to this kind of new movement of the marketplace, is because it's, especially like you said, for drivers, it's $500 almost every day. That's a significant expense. I don't care who you are.
Well, what else did I not cover with that you'd like to talk about trucker?
I think we covered a lot of things. The keys really is just leveraging the active community of drivers who tell us what they want and don't want regularly. The navigation program is really solid. I would argue pretty aggressively that we have the best in class because we have all those drivers, telling us where we're wrong, basically, how much is powerful. And then the availability of our navigation for fleets that we talked about earlier to be able to dispatch directly to Trucker Paths, relatively new. It's been very, very well received so far. So it's really why we're here at this show, other than to talk about our partnerships with the Women in Motion Council here at ATA. And yesterday we announced a new partnership with Truckers Against Trafficking to help mitigate trafficking throughout the country through the Voice of Truckers. So just overall, we just try to be a good active member for the trucking industry, and at the same time, like I said, bring big fleet deals to the little guys.
I love it. Can't beat it. Trucker Path. Sign up for it, guys. I think at a minimum, save some fuel. Find out where to park. Know before you show up. All good things that can help you. So thank you again for being on the Hall of Fame, and have a great day.